In a single weekend in August 2026, the Earth's crust aggressively buckled. A sudden wave of tectonic activity struck multiple continents almost simultaneously. Off the east coast of New Zealand, a magnitude 5.9 tremor tore through the North Island, waking more than 5,000 people and sending shockwaves from Auckland all the way to Christchurch. Halfway across the world, a 5.5 magnitude quake rocked Egypt in the early hours of the morning. Residents in Cairo felt the buildings sway, prompting an immediate nationwide health emergency alert. But in Kumamoto, Japan, the ground moved with a far more lethal force. A 7.1 magnitude disaster shattered the region, collapsing buildings, igniting gas lines, and leaving at least 13 people dead. The ground beneath us is constantly moving, but why do some of these shifts merely rattle a teacup, while others level entire cities?
To understand how our planet dispenses this violence, we have to look past the top-line numbers of the Richter scale. The lethal potential of an earthquake is dictated by a specific set of hidden geological variables. Take the 5.5 magnitude quake in Egypt and compare it to a much weaker 2.9 magnitude tremor that hit Delhi that exact same weekend. Despite the vast difference in raw power, both shared one critical structural characteristic: they were incredibly shallow. The Delhi tremor ruptured just 8 kilometers below the surface, and the Egyptian quake occurred at a depth of only 10 kilometers. When a fault line snaps, kinetic energy radiates outward. A rupture close to the crust means waves travel little distance, slamming the surface with violent shaking. If a rupture occurs deeper, the crust acts as a shock absorber. Energy dissipates, arriving as a gentle rumble. Depth acts as the primary filter for surface destruction. A low-magnitude event right under our feet can tear a neighborhood apart, proving that magnitude alone is an incomplete metric. So why do these shallow, high-energy events cluster in specific geographic zones, like the Mediterranean or the South Pacific? This map illustrates the active seismotectonics of the Mediterranean. The African plate is aggressively crashing northward into the Eurasian plate. This collision has been underway for 50 million years. At 4 to 10 millimeters a year, this tectonic squeeze is closing the ancient Tethys Sea. Shift focus to the Pacific Ring of Fire bordering New Zealand, and you find an entirely different engine of geological violence. Here, heavy oceanic crust is being dragged down or subducted beneath lighter continental plates. The immense friction generates constant, high-frequency tectonic snaps, perfectly explaining the 5.9 magnitude event off the North Island. A region's exact placement on these shifting boundaries determines its baseline vulnerability. If you live on a convergence zone, the geological deck is permanently stacked against you. When you combine a shallow rupture with a highly active boundary and then inject massive magnitude, you get the devastating 7.1 event in Kumamoto, Japan. Because the earthquake scale is logarithmic, a 7.1 releases exponentially more destructive energy than a 5.5, violently upending the landscape. The initial shake is rarely the only threat. The tectonic rupture triggered immediate infrastructure failures, severing main roads, collapsing a factory smokestack, and sparking a massive gas explosion. This occurred at a local shopping mall. Then come the tertiary threats. Nearly 37,000 households lost power right in the middle of extreme summer heat. Fractured water pipes immediately lead to dehydration, while the psychological terror of over 200 aftershocks hampers rescue efforts. When high magnitude meets a shallow depth, the immediate tectonic damage is quickly outpaced by a deadly cascade effect of modern infrastructure failure. Despite the devastation, global recovery protocols kick into gear immediately. Health ministries in Cairo activated high-alert crisis centers within hours, while Japanese crews rapidly mobilized heavy equipment to stabilize and rebuild fractured cities. We cannot halt the African plate's long, slow march into Eurasia, nor can we stop the relentless subduction of the Pacific Ring of Fire. But by charting the variables of depth, boundary geography, and magnitude, we strip the mystery away from these massive, seemingly random geologic events. Mastering this tectonic science is the exact mechanism that allows us to map hazard zones, engineer resilient infrastructure, and ultimately survive life on a constantly moving planet.